Welcome to the course, Why Joomla? We're going to look at the top 10 reasons you might want to choose Joomla over another alternative. Now, quite frankly, all three of the content management systems we focus on here at OSTraining are excellent. Some of the reasons I'm going to give for Joomla, you could actually make an argument to use WordPress or Drupal for the same reason. Think more broadly. When was the last time you actually created a website using static HTML or a different CMS? So while there might be some overlap here, I've tried to come up with 10 really good reasons why Joomla would be a great choice for your next web project. And so let's give a quick overview and then we'll dive in with 10 great reasons to use Joomla. Number 1, Joomla is probably the most robust CMS out of the box. This is where Joomla gives you a bit of a competitive edge, and we'll take a look at that. Number 2, if you need more, there's more. There's over 8,000 extensions available for Joomla. Joomla is easy to install, easy to update, and therefore one of the easiest CMSs to maintain. Joomla works the way you work. Joomla content management process is simplified. Creating content is really simple. Joomla helps people find your site and your content. Hey, you want control? You've got control. Joomla puts the client in the driver's seat with its advanced access control. When it's not quite right, or what you want, it's easy to override. Joomla lets you customize without a lot of advanced code and, most importantly, without hacking core. Joomla is anywhere, anytime, and on any device, so it helps your clients succeed. Can you hear me now? Joomla is available in hundreds of languages. Internationalization is easy to set up. Joomla is everywhere. There's a massive community behind Joomla. It will never leave you high and dry. And I want to give you one bonus one because it's really critical. Joomla is secure. It keeps your site safe, and trust me, your clients will love you for that. So there's our Joomla top 10. Follow along with each video. All right, let's start with number 1. Joomla is one of the most robust CMSs out of the box. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, Joomla gives you a competitive edge because the second you install it, you have an absolute wealth of software available to you. One of the things this means is that Joomla, because it's a free open source CMS with a ton of powerful features, can take a lot less time to get a site up and running. It can be as powerful, flexible, and beautiful as you need with less work. And that's good for your clients. Let's take a quick peek at what I mean by that. When you install Joomla, it is powerful out of the box, feature-rich, with a lot of software that would take you many, many days, weeks, and sometimes months to recreate for yourself. Joomla gives us a simple control panel where we can see our most important menu items and any messages we need to see when we log in. We can look at the system information for our hosting service where we are. There's a complete user control system that provides advanced access control, and we'll talk about that one later. Joomla content, a simplified process we like to call the cache workflow. Categorize, article, and then show via menus. It's that simple to get new content. There's an advanced media manager that goes along with that, already built in. Joomla comes with a number of extensions. There are 5 different kinds of extensions. One is called components. And in the components extension, we have banners, a contact management system, a messaging system, news feeds for your site, a redirect so that if you have old URLs coming to your new site, you can set up this redirect and your site visitors won't even know They typed in a bad link. The search that's built into Joomla is one of the best. Joomla will index everything on your site and serve those results up to your site visitors so they can find just what they want. Tagging is phenomenal in Joomla. It allows you to categorize your content and set up links to your content in unique and different ways. The other 4 extension types are modules, plugins, templates, and languages. If we look at the module manager, Joomla comes with a lot of built-in modules now. I've installed the sample data here, but they are still all modules that come with Joomla Core. Some of them archived articles, newsflash, related content, article categories, banner modules so I can place a banner anywhere on my site, custom HTML, feeds, footers, latest news, latest users. If you're not familiar with Joomla, modules place information around the content area of your site like these so that you can really enhance what your visitors see. Modules can be placed anywhere, at any time, for anyone, and I'll talk about that in another video. The plugin manager, again, little pieces of software that help your site. These are phenomenal, and there are many types of plugins, including a complete user login system, the redirect plugin we talked about, as many languages as you want, 2-factor authentication, a complete profile system. If I go back to the beginning here, authentication, Joomla, cookie, Gmail, or LDAP, you can configure your Joomla site to work with an LDAP server, CAPTCHA, reCAPTCHA. Email cloaking plugin is great if I put an email address in an article or anywhere on my site. Spam bots can't get it because it's completely hidden by JavaScript. WYSIWYG editors, buttons for those editors to easily insert images and text, make page breaks, table of contents, and more. Our search plugins and some other system plugins. Joomla comes with several templates. I've installed the OSTraining Breeze template we'll use later, but out of the box, Joomla is completely responsive. With the administration template that's now available, you can manage your site from anywhere, at any time, from any device. We'll talk more about that one later as well. And then finally, the language manager. We've only installed one language, but there are hundreds of languages available for Joomla, all easy to install and easy to configure. Oh, by the way, did I mention you can override just about anything? Out of the box, Joomla is probably the most robust content management system out there today. In the last video, we talked about how robust Joomla is out of the box. In this video, if you need more, there's more. Joomla helps you build a site your clients will love with over 8,000 extensions. These are being actively developed and constantly updated. If your clients need more than one template or template style on their site, no worries. Joomla can manage that as well. And Joomla gives you complete control over the visual presentation of your site. So seriously, if you need more, there's more. All of the content management systems we cover here at OSTraining have extensions. In WordPress, they're called plugins. In Drupal, they're called modules. And in Joomla, they're called extensions. And as I mentioned in the last video, there are 5 kinds of extensions in Joomla: components, modules, plugins, templates, and languages. And you can find a lot of them right here. One of the great things about the Joomla extensions directory is that these extensions are vetted and approved. They are not all free, and that's one thing you'll find with WordPress and Joomla. Some extensions are free, and there are some really great free ones, and some you pay for. And when it comes to paid extensions, I almost always recommend paying for it. If you're a developer, it will help you in the long run. If you're the client that somebody's building a site for you, well, again, the extra power that you get, generally speaking, from these paid extensions is usually worth it. Case in point, Advanced Module Manager and Advanced Template Manager coming from No Number extensions are both absolutely phenomenal. Take a look here at the categories. down the left-hand side, you'll see that there are extensions for just about every need. On the main page of the extensions directory, you get random new ones, new and noteworthy, and recently updated extensions. You'll also get random extensions. Honestly, sometimes finding extensions here at the extensions directory is a little bit daunting. I can go through and click on a category and then look at subcategories, but the nice thing that the extensions directory does for me is it gives me popular extensions in this category. And in the calendar category, these 5 are really, really good. But if we look at our website for just a minute, and I click on the extension manager here, when I first installed Joomla, there was a little button here that said turn on the install from web tab. And so I click that, and now I have the entire Joomla extensions directory right here in my Joomla site. If I want to find an extension, I can just type in calendar. And Joomla is going to give me all of the calendar extensions available for it. These are listed by popularity, but again, it's always a matter of research and being aware what you're installing on your site. In our Joomla beginner course, we go over how to choose good extensions, and I'd strongly recommend that you take a look at that one again. These are great extensions, whether they're free or you need to pay for them. Well, let's find a quick free one. Here's JEvents. I'm going to click on JEvents, and I'm going to install it. And click Install. It will download the latest version of the extension for me, install it, and put it everywhere it's supposed to go. And when it's done, it gives me a success message. From here, I can just click on Configuration, and just like that, I have a complete calendaring system for my Joomla website. So, if you need more, there's always more. That's just a component. What about the other extensions? Specifically, templates. There are many template clubs for Joomla, and I'm not going to go through a list of them because I don't want to leave somebody out, but there are phenomenal templates for Joomla. And in another video, I'm going to show you how to quickly override templates so that you can have different looks and feels for different sections of your site. So once again, if you need more, there's more. Number 3, Joomla is easy to install and easy to update. In fact, it's one of the most simple installation processes of any CMS. It's easy to maintain. There's a fast 3-step installation, one-click updates for the CMS and most major extensions. Joomla makes security unbelievably manageable, and there are some fantastic extensions for backing up, restoring, or just moving your site when you need to. Let's take a look at how easy this is to do. This is the Joomla installation screen. I'm going to set this up really quickly. We'll call this site Why Joomla. This is a site dedicated to Why Joomla. I'll put my email address in, my username, and I'm just going to keep a very simple password, which you of course would never do on a real site. I can put the site offline if I want. That's step 1. Step 2 is the database. I'm on an internal server here, and so I have a very simple username and password. I am going to install the Learn Joomla sample data just so you can see it. I can email myself the configuration, and everything is in the green, so my pre-installation checklist and all my recommendations are set, and I click Install. And in just a few moments, I have a website. I remove the installation folder, and my site is ready to view. In another session, we'll actually change the template here and talk about overrides. So that's the installation of Joomla, and we have videos on that in our Joomla beginner class. What about updates? Well, I'm going to log into the backend by adding the word administrator to my URL. Log in, and you'll see down here, Joomla immediately checks to see if there are any updates. I purposely installed an old version of Joomla, so we'd be able to show you this. I'm going to click and install. So Joomla is downloading the stable patch for this new version. I'm going from 3.33 to 3.36 and extracting the files, and we're done. It's successfully updated. That's all there is to updating your Joomla site. What about extensions? Let me install a couple of extensions and I'll be right back. I purposely installed an old version of JCE, the Joomla content editor. This is version 2.4.3, and indeed when I come to Extension Manager and click Update and then Find Updates, Joomla goes out, sees what updates are available, and lets me know right here. For most new extensions to Joomla and the most popular extensions for Joomla, this is how you can update them. Before I do that, when you first log in, you'll notice that again, Joomla is looking to see if there are any updates available. And I can click from here and come straight back to where I just was. Click in JCE and click Update. And in just a few moments, JCE will be updated to the latest version. So Joomla, easy to install and easy to update. Number 4, Joomla works the way you work. Drupal, while much more flexible in some ways, can really be daunting when it comes to managing the content. And while WordPress supports custom content types, so does Joomla. The great thing with Joomla is the workflow is really simple. We call it the cache workflow. You categorize, you add, and then you show via a menu. Joomla has complete content versioning as well, making it a very robust management system. There's a WYSIWYG editor that comes with Joomla out of the box. We've installed JCE, which I always recommend, and a great media manager for both. Finally, information can go anywhere, at any time, under any circumstance, using Advanced Module Manager from no number. And yes, I'm going to suggest a few extensions as we go, and then in the last summary video, I'm going to give you a link to my 45 extensions in 45 minutes talk that I did at the Joomla World Conference. Well, let's take a look at what I just talked about. Our cache workflow starts with categories. Now, I installed the sample data here. Normally, the only thing you'd have is an uncategorized category, and you can put things in there. But generally speaking, think about how to make your content fit together in categories, and it will save you a lot of time. Here we have the sample data articles, a Joomla category, and then a Park Site category. You'll notice subcategories have dashes that indicate how far down the categorization structure they are, and Joomla allows for unlimited nested subcategories. This is really great. When I add an article then, I choose what category it goes in. This Quick Icons article is in the category called Plugins, and if I take a quick peek at this, I have the category structure right here where I can choose which category it goes in. I can tell Joomla to publish it immediately or just leave it in draft mode. I can control access to it via ACL, and we'll look at that in another video. And I can assign it to a language group as well. This is the WYSIWYG editor that comes with Joomla. I haven't turned JCE on yet. This is Tiny MCE. Some people love it. Most people like JCE, and I'll turn that on in just a moment. I have advanced publication settings right out of the box. I can add images to the introductory text, like the teaser mode, and the full article image. I can add links to the bottom of my article if I want. I can also override all of the display options for my article right here. Whether I want to show the title, intro text, show the publication date like in a blog. And finally, I can even set permissions for this article so that any level of user or any user group can see this or not see this article. You remember I mentioned versions. There is a complete versioning system here in Joomla. So if I make a change, my change, and hit save, I now have a version of my article that is available to me to go back to. I know who did it, I know when they did it, I know the character count, and I can even preview the article and the changes that were made. And of course, I can revert back. That versioning system is really helpful, and it's quite advanced. I mentioned buttons down here at the bottom, and as you add different extensions, there'd be more buttons that will show up here. So as I categorize, add, and now show my content, I have a menu system that is quite robust. I can have different menus anywhere I want. If I click on the main menu, here are the main menu items. Now, because that article was a part of a category, there's a blog layout that accesses that article. I don't have to have a menu to absolutely every article on my site. So for instance, there's a menu link here that lists all the categories on my site, and then I can just quickly drill down to any content item I want. So the cache workflow gives us a really simplified way of managing our content. I'm going to quickly switch over to JCE just so you can see the difference. Here in global configuration, we choose our default editor, or I can assign that on a user by user basis in the user menu. Again, you have absolute control. So now when I click on add new article, I have JCE, and again, this is completely customizable. We have a great tutorial on JCE at OSTraining. So Joomla works the way you work. It's easy to think through categories of content, add the content, and then show the content. So finally, information can go anywhere, at any time, under any circumstance, and let me show you what I mean by that. Let's say I wanted the latest news in my right sidebar. Well, this is a module position in Joomla, and again, this is all covered in our Joomla beginner class. Let me go ahead and click on Module Manager, click New, and I want the latest news module. I'm going to choose all categories. I'm going to show 5 categories, and I'm going to give this a title of latest news. I'm going to show the title of the module, and I just have to pick the right module position here, which is position 7. And in our beginner class, we show you how to figure that out. I can set a start date and a finish date for this module if I want. That's really all I need at this point, except to say I'm going to show it on all pages, or only the pages selected, or just the pages except those selected. So I can choose none, and then just scroll down to the main menu home page, click Save and Close. When I hit refresh on my home page, there's my latest news. But when I go to any other page, it's not there anymore. And again, we cover all of that in our Joomla beginner class. A way to really make that work, as I mentioned, is the No Number Advanced Module Manager extension. Adds an amazing array of great options for that. So as we conclude number 4, Joomla, it works the way you work. Simplified content management. You can paste Word, you can paste text, gives you a WYSIWYG editor to manipulate that text and those images, and then you can place information anywhere. Number 5, Joomla is friendly, social, and searchable. Joomla helps people find my site and my content using advanced microdata and search engine optimization tools. Joomla is really advanced in this area. Joomla allows the site editors to add tags, descriptions, keywords, all the human-friendly URLs you need, and Joomla provides a fully integrated smart search. So when people want to find you, they can find you. When we look at a Joomla article, we have all of our content in the body. We have tagging. If I want to add some tags to this, now this article is tagged with the word search. That allows me to build quick lists of common content. Users really love that. I can add a version note to this article that's just for me. But when we talk about search engine optimization, we really need to look at the publishing tab, because over here on the right, we can add a meta description, keywords, a key reference to an external source if we want. We can give robots instructions about this article. If we don't want them to follow, we can tell them to index and follow, no index and follow. You get the idea. We can actually add author information here and content rights to our meta descriptions. This is really helpful, and Google really likes it. As of the date of this recording, Google is no longer paying as much attention to keywords, if any at all. You might want to skip that step, but definitely have a good description of your content. And that doesn't mean copying and pasting the intro text into your meta description. The other thing that's really great about Joomla, again, is the publication start and finish. Rather than just deleting old articles or archiving old articles, if it doesn't need to be on your site any longer, you can just stop publishing it at some point. Another thing with Joomla, built into our images, is alt text. And of course, alt text is absolutely important for Google and for screen readers. So always add alt text to your images anyway. You also have captions available to you. So from a search engine friendly perspective, Joomla gives you a lot right out of the box. Of course, there are extensions that can add functionality here and make it even better. So that's search engine optimization. What about search engine friendly or human friendly URLs? Very simple to turn on in Joomla. Go to Global Configuration, turn URL rewriting on. I usually use the suffix off, but Joomla allows me to add the site name in. Whether you put it before or after is up to you. That just depends on your site. One thing when you're turning on human-friendly URLs, make sure your htaccess.txt file has been renamed to .htaccess if you're on an Apache server, and if you're on an IIS server, you need to rename web.config.txt to web.config and install the IIS URL rewrite module before activating, otherwise your site will be completely broken. When you're all set, just go ahead and click Save and Close, and you'll notice that when I go home on my site, or I go to any link, you'll notice that now the URL is using-joomla/extensions/components, etc., etc. And that's several layers deep in our categorization. But y-Joomla, which is the name of my site, that would be y-joomla.com/login. I'm on an internal server here. So turning on human-friendly URLs makes it easier to say, hey, mysite.com/login is a lot easier to remember than some other crazy machine name. Now, I'll point out that all of the CMSs we teach here do this. So this isn't necessarily distinct to Joomla, but it's a great feature nonetheless. Lastly, let's take a look at the search, and I'm going to search for project. And the Smart Search has found 4 results. I can search for any words or an exact phrase, and I can tell it to just search in articles if I want. Once I've narrowed my search down, I click on the article and it takes me straight there. Fully integrated search, and quite frankly, a really good integrated search built into Joomla. Number 6, you want control? You've got control. Joomla puts the client in the driver's seat when it comes to who can access their content and who can edit their content. Joomla has an advanced access control list, or ACL, that allows you to set up permissions and group roles for any area of the site, and your client can manage that. Collaboration tools, article locking, keep editors from stepping on each other's toes, and that's just the beginning. Joomla offers a very robust way of maintaining and controlling access to your entire site. It starts with groups and permissions, and then allows your client to set that up in a way so that only the right people can see or edit the right content. Out of the box, Joomla comes with multiple groups. Now, because we added the sample data here, there are 2 sample groups that have been added as well. Essentially, anybody who can come to your site can see everything but not do anything. A manager on your site can go to the front end but cannot have super user access or even access the administration end of the site. They can create and delete and edit their content, but only from the front end. A publisher has more control. They can publish content, but they're not allowed to delete content. So they're just under a manager. Once we look at people who can actually log into the back end, like an administrator or a super user, of course, we have full access to everything. Well, how do we set this up? In Joomla, we start with groups. And here are the groups that come with Joomla out of the box, and as I mentioned, 2 that have been added. Here's a customer group, and all we need to do is add them as a group. This one has the parent of the registered group, and so they won't be able to access the backend or manage content. When we have a user group, we have to give them access. So when I click on the access, here is the customer access level, and that group has been assigned to that access. Finally, I put users in those groups. So when a user comes with that level of access, they can see the articles and categories and areas of the site they're allowed to see. One of the areas I've used this a lot is for nonprofits boards, where the board might want to post their minutes for other board members to see. They don't want to use Google Docs for it or something like that, but they want to use their website. So we set up a user group called board members, a viewing access level called board member minutes, and then we put the board members into those user groups. From there, I can control the content by user group. So if Smart Search, for instance, was a board minute that others had editorial rights, I could actually say everybody from this user group is allowed to edit the article, similar to Google Docs. When I click Save, you'll now see that they are able to edit. We have an excellent access control course at OSTraining, and if you have more than just a couple of users managing your content, strongly recommend you take a look at it. Access control in Joomla is really robust, and this is a strong reason to consider Joomla as your CMS of choice. Number 7, when it's not quite what you want, override. Joomla has the ability to override many areas of its output and language files without any code work, and especially without hacking core. This is a fun little cartoon. I love cats, don't worry. We have 5. Every time somebody hacks a core file, God kills a kitten. That's obviously not true, but it's a good reminder. We don't hack Joomla core. We don't need to. We can override languages, we can override templates, you can override layouts, and you can do all of that without hacking core. Let's take a quick peek at just one of these. I'm here in the Language Manager. We've installed the UK version of English, and I don't necessarily like what Joomla is using for a particular language string. So for instance, under the "you are here" for the breadcrumb, let's go ahead and change that. I'm going to click New, and the first thing I need to do is search for the one I want to change. on our Joomla website, we have the breadcrumb, you are here, and then home. Let's change the text for you are here. You are here. I'm going to search for that value, and 3 results come back up. The mod breadcrumbs here is probably the one I want. These are labels. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to say you are right here. And I'm going to click Save. Using that simple override, when I hit refresh, there's the override to my language file. If I don't like the words create an account, I can change that as well. Any of the default Joomla language, you can override just that way. What about template overrides? I'm going to come into Extensions and Template Manager, and I'm going to make OSTraining Breeze the default template for my site. And quickly look at this. There are no real options here for this particular template. I'm going to select the OSTraining Breeze template as my default, and you can download this template from OSTraining. I'm going to make a quick copy of it as well. And so now I have the default, which looks like this, by the way, with a blue style, and I'm going to change give it a completely different color scheme, and assign that to the sitemap menu. Save and close. So on my home, I've got this blue. When I click on sitemap, I've got a completely different look. So with Joomla, you can have multiple versions of a template assigned to any area of your site. If I click on the module manager and go to the main menu module to demonstrate the template override, and I click on the main menu in the menu position, there's an alternative layout here that comes from the template itself. So we can either use the default module layout or the template layout. This is a template override. We have a section in our Joomla Intermediate course on template overrides, and we have a template override course coming out shortly. So when it's not quite what you want, Joomla lets you override it in many kinds of ways without hacking core. Number 8, Joomla allows you to manage your website anywhere, anytime, from any device. Joomla 3 is completely responsive right out of the box, and therefore helps your clients succeed wherever they are, anytime, on any device. Because it's responsive, they can work on their site. All they need is an internet connection. And even better, visitors can see their site from anywhere, on any device. Well, let's take a quick peek and see how this works. The Joomla 3 administrative interface is completely responsive, so I can manage it on any device. And so here is my site on my iPad mini. You'll notice that in both portrait and landscape mode, the Joomla website is responsive. If I go ahead and log in, you'll notice I have a pretty normal administration screen. When I rotate it to portrait and I click on my article manager, you'll also see that it's again completely responsive. I can now go ahead and just edit my content right on my Mac Mini, getting the key elements of each article right there on my site. The problem with this one is the JCE editor is actually breaking the layout. That's not a problem. JCE comes with a mobile version. All I have to do is activate that layout. Well, what about the phone? The phone, of course, is even smaller. So here I am on my phone, and I've activated that menu from JCE. Let's log in and see how it looks. When I'm on my phone, Joomla realizes that what I need is even smaller than what I do on my iPad. My menu is at the top, and I can just click on Article Manager, click on a different article since I'm locked out of Smart Search, and you'll see that Joomla gives me the ability to edit my article in landscape mode. It's a little tougher in portrait mode because, again, the mobile toolbar is breaking that layout. But in landscape mode, where most people would type anyway on my phone, you can see that it's pretty great. All of the right side publication elements are dropped to the bottom, and so completely mobile ready out of the box. This is something Drupal 8 will feature, but we don't expect Drupal 8 anytime soon. So Joomla, right out of the box, completely mobile. So with Joomla being responsive right out of the box, your clients can work on their site anywhere and from any device. Can you hear me now? You probably remember that Verizon commercial from a few years ago where the poor guy was running all over town, making sure people could still hear him while he went from tower to tower. Well, Joomla lets you communicate with the entire world in their language. And this is one of Joomla's greatest strengths. Globalization and internationalization is a priority for the Joomla project, and it makes it easy to set up languages for your particular audience. While some of you watching this video are English speakers only, and your website visitors may only speak one language, that's not true for the vast majority of the world. Everything's customizable, everything's translatable in Joomla, and so Joomla's language packs are really one of its greatest strengths. This is one area Joomla really does shine. Over here at the Joomla 3 translation packs, here are some of the languages that Joomla is available in, and you can see all of them there. Most of the world's major languages are already there, and more are being added all the time. You can click Install a Language. There are none available just yet. Click Find Languages, and here is a listing of all the language packs available for Joomla 3, and as you can see, there's quite a number. To install the French language pack is just as simple as finding French. And of course, I'm from Canada, so I will pick French Canada and click Install. And there we have the French language pack already installed. Now that I have another language, I can just say which one is the default. Now, as with every other CMS, this isn't an automatic translation. You have to actually translate your content into the other language. When I set up the module to switch between languages, Joomla will very easily know which language is being chosen and offer up all of the content, but more specifically, all of the Joomla language files will have been translated. So instead of saying read more, it'll say read more in French or whatever language you choose. The translation team at Joomla is serious about getting even more translations out there. Joomla, more than any other CMS, is definitely ready for whatever language you need to communicate in around the world. And so the question, can you hear me now? The answer is absolutely. Number 10, Joomla is everywhere. And when I say everywhere, I mean everywhere. Joomla will never leave you high and dry. These are just some of the people from the 2013 Joomla World Conference, some of the thousands of people involved in Joomla. Now, I know relationships between clients and developers sometimes end, and they end for a lot of reasons. One of the things that is really great about Joomla, and this is actually true of WordPress and Drupal as well, is the massive, active, and very supportive community that is all over the world. Let me highlight just some of the community elements behind Joomla. The Joomla community portal is one place that you as a developer or even a client might want to take a quick peek at. There is a community blog that will keep you up to date with everything going on, as well as all of the Joomla events around the world, and there are a lot of them. There are 3 types of events in Joomla. Joomla Days, which tend to be put on by local Joomla user groups, and they're in cities from around the world. There is the J and Beyond event in Europe each year, And this tends to be a pretty technical event, but it attracts some of the best developers from all over Europe and indeed all over the world. People gather together to talk Joomla for about a week. And then finally, there's the Joomla World Conference every year, and this tends to float around between the United States or at least somewhere close to the US. And this is a fantastic opportunity to get together with other people who know and use Joomla. There are great sessions, and usually it's at a pretty nice venue, so you'll have lots of time to sit around and get to know other people who use Joomla. If you're a Joomla developer or you use Joomla to build websites, I can't stress this enough. I think the Joomla World Conference is a great opportunity for you to enhance your skills, but even more importantly, to get to know other people from all over the world, building those relationships so that if you need help, you can find it. If someone needs help, you can offer it. And it's just amazing to be part of a global community like this. Back at Joomla.org, there's not only the blogs, but there are user groups, events, translations, the magazine, which is always interesting to read. It's usually put out the first of each month. We also have a brand new Joomla online demo, the ability, of course, to download Joomla, and you can even set up your own Joomla website for 90 days for free at demo.joomla.org, all part of the community. If you use Joomla as a site builder or a developer, I can't encourage you enough to get involved with Joomla. There are opportunities everywhere for you to be involved, whether it's just to help in the forums, write translations, develop extensions, testing. There are many working groups all around the world that help Joomla get better. Now remember, Joomla is an open source project. It's completely free, and Joomla is developed and run by volunteers. These volunteers have jobs just like you and I, but they take some of their time and offer it up to the project. And these are just some of the ways that you can do that. So Joomla is everywhere, and it'll never leave you high and dry. One anecdote, in my last corporate job, we purchased a CMS for $25,000, took a year to develop it, and on the day we launched, they went bankrupt. Over $100,000 wasted. That's not going to happen in open source, and it's not going to happen with Joomla. It's a fantastic project with thousands of people around the world using it every day. One bonus, with Joomla, your site will be safe. Joomla has regular security updates, and like every content management system or any software, things can happen. Vulnerabilities can be discovered, mistakes can be made. But with Joomla, there are always security updates when necessary. Joomla employs two-factor authentication if you turn it on, allowing your site administrators to really keep their security safe. Finally, Joomla uses hashed and salted passwords for all of its authentication. Joomla takes security really seriously, as do all the CMSs. And 2014 has not been a good year for content management systems. They have been hammered and hammered by hackers, and hackers gain access in one of several ways. But you can rest assured, if you keep your Joomla site to the latest version, your Joomla site is safe. If it gets hacked, more than likely someone's password has been breached or the server itself has an issue. All of the CMSs work really hard at this. And generally speaking, all three of the CMSs we teach are unbelievably secure. But here's the thing, and as you remember from our third video, it's really easy to install. It's really easy to update. Please make sure you update. So why would you use Joomla? Well, our Joomla Top 10, Joomla is robust out of the box. If you need more, there's more. It's easy to install, easy to update. It works the way you work. It's friendly, sociable, and searchable. If you want control, you've got control. You've got overrides. It's an anywhere, anytime, on any device kind of CMS. It's in hundreds of languages, and Joomla is everywhere. And as a bonus, just remember, Joomla keeps your sites safe. We're excited that Joomla is one of the 3 CMSs we really recommend here at OSTraining. Currently, it's the second most popular content management system online, and it's gaining in popularity all the time. Recently, in 1 week alone, Joomla 2.5 saw 23,000 new downloads, 100,000 downloads of the update, and a combined 290,000 downloads for Joomla 3. That's an impressive number. There are millions of websites that use Joomla. I can't recommend it to you enough.